The following program is produced by students of the Brian Lamb School of Communication at Purdue University.
On this edition of Fast Track, we take a look at one of the oldest and one of the most historic campus facilities.
And as summer turns into fall, we take you out to Tippecanoe County's own Exploration Acres to learn about the family fun you can have this autumn. Fast Track starts now. Happy Homecoming Week, Boilermakers, and welcome to Fast Track. This week we are coming to you from in front of the Loeb Playhouse. I'm Dakota Simon.
And I'm Molly Shaughnessy. As Purdue continues to change every day, one place has remained the same, Lambert Fieldhouse. You may have been there a few times to see the Boilermaker track and field compete, or maybe to take a final exam.
One of the most underrated places on campus, Lambert Fieldhouse has been around to see many generations of Boilermaker greats. Tommy Barrett takes you inside.
So Lambert Fieldhouse, built in 1937. It's been home to Purdue basketball, Purdue wrestling, Purdue track and field, and Purdue swimming. It's one of the most historic places on the campus of Purdue University, and I'm about to take you inside and show you what it's all about. Before Mackey Arena was built in 1967, Lambert Fieldhouse was home to the Purdue Boilermakers. Under the realm of legendary head coach Ward Piggy Lambert, Purdue boasted a total of 16 All-Americans, 31 first-team All-Big Ten selections, and one of the all-time greats, the 1932 National Player of the Year, John Wooden.
Kind of a typical Indiana basketball place to be in the state of Indiana. You know, bleachers, 9,000 people in a big venue, and there were some great basketball players. And Purdue's basketball tradition is probably as rich as any sport we have. But you know, the thing you always, when you talk about Lambert, the thing people always come back to, they'll talk about some of the great moments, but they'll talk about the tragedy when the bleachers fell. And you know, the bleachers we took out of the south end zone a few years ago, those were the original bleachers from Lambert Fieldhouse. Now they'd been refurbished, and you know, from a safety standpoint. But I told people we're not putting another nickel into those bleachers. They're gone.
So what does the inside of Lambert Fieldhouse look like today?
As the basketball arena moved, and Mackey, which is going to be 50 years old next year, moved, we converted that to an indoor track. That was probably done in the, I don't know, the 60s or 70s, but we wanted to use the space, and became, I think, a good facility for the track team.
Before the Aquatic Center was built in 2001, Lambert was also home to the Purdue swimming and diving teams. Although Lambert may be old, Purdue plans to continue to improve on this historic landmark.
I think from an athletic standpoint, you'll continue to upgrade the track. You know, those tracks wear out after a period of time, so you know, we've done a couple of resurfacings in there. You'll notice they're doing some tuck pointing of the windows and the like. There's some masonry work that needs to be done. I don't see the university, unless it figures out what to do with the other half of the building, taking it down.
According to Burke, Lambert will continue to bridge the gap from old boilers to new.
A lot of history, a lot of tradition, a lot of great performances, both in swimming and in track and field in the facility. And to this day, I think it's still a good competition facility for track and field, and as I said, a good wrestling practice facility.
Tommy Barrett, Fast Track.
Let's check out the weekend weather conditions from our Fast Track meteorologist, Matt Seedorf.
Thanks, Molly. We had a high temperature throughout much of the area in the upper 60s today, where it warmed up pretty nicely after a cool start to the morning. We had a 67 in Rensselaer, a 68 in Champaign, and a 65 over here in Lafayette, at Fort Wayne, excuse me. Our current satellite shows we have cirrus clouds throughout much of the greater Lafayette area, and these should break up through the evening. These clouds down south shall stay to the south and would give us mostly sunny skies throughout the day on Saturday. Our current temperature is 65 degrees with a dew point of 45, which gives us a relative humidity of 48%. Our winds are out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour. Our high temperature today was 68 degrees and our low temperature was 39. Will it warm up for the homecoming? I will have that more later. Back to you, Dakota.
Thanks, Matt. Lafayette families don't have to travel far to find entertainment for this fall. Whether you're looking for pumpkins, getting lost in a corn maze, or firing corn out of a cannon, Exploration Acres has it all. Reporter Sheena Steffen has more on the story.
Since 2008, the Fitzgeralds work year-round on their family-owned farm here in Lafayette, preparing Exploration Acres for this time of year.
Immediately after the season, starting to think about what next year's maize is going to be. Sometimes I do it 2-3 years in advance. The bicentennial maize that we're doing this year, I actually came up with 2 years ago, and so I've been planning on that for quite a while.
Activities at Exploration Acres include games for kids, an 18-acre corn maze, hay rides, a country store, and lots of pumpkins. Ages of all types are able to enjoy the family fun.
It's our first time coming as a family, and so that's hard to say. I've been to the maze, I've had the bonfire thing. There's lots of fun things to do.
I love it here. It's so much fun, and I like the mazes.
So if you're looking for something to do, grab your jacket and head out to Exploration Acres. Bet you better hurry. Exploration Acres will be open Thursdays through Sundays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. until October 30th and can be found at 6042 Newcastle Road. Reporting for Fast Track, Sheena Stephan.
For nearly a century now, there has been a spot on campus that many students love to visit to get away from the stress of their academic lives. Ironically enough, you can even earn a credit here.
The Union Rack and Roll in the basement of the Union provides both recreation and academic fun for students across campus, and we took to the lanes to find out what it's all about. The Rack and Roll in the Purdue Memorial Union is a unique find for students on campus for many reasons. The most popular of them all, though, is the bowling alley.
We're one of the few unions that still have bowling centers. Back in the 70s, there were 400 college unions that had bowling centers. Now it's less than 100.
This one, it just has like a really homey atmosphere being on campus and just seeing like all the student life.
Having a bowling alley in the Union provides a lot more than just recreational fun. You can earn a credit by taking a bowling class with Doug.
A lot of people take the class because it's a good stress relief. I mean, there's plenty of studies showing the stress relief of physical activity. The other thing is that it gives them an opportunity to learn a sport they probably don't get formal education.
Participating in the bowling class can place your part in one of the busiest bowling alleys in the Midwest.
We are one of the highest lineage centers in the entire Midwest. If you take the number of games per year divided by 10 lanes, the bowling classes, we average almost 15,000 games per semester.
But efforts are still being made to get the alley into modern conditions after its nearly century-long existence.
Over the past 8 or 10 years, as the old machines, which were installed in '71, aged out, it became really hard to keep the lanes running.
Which has improved the lanes for the future.
Overall, the efficiency of the lanes are making things run much smoother.
The bowling alley in the Union Rack and Roll is one of Purdue's longest-lasting traditions. To discover more about this hidden treasure, head to the basement of the Union today. Dakota Simon, Fast Track Sports.
When we come back, we check out this year's Starry Night Music Festival.
And later, our own Griffin Schiller has his take on a recent movie in this week's Film Friday. Stay with us.
Starry Night is an event under string lights. Students and the community come together on a single street. Reporter Sheena Stephan has more on the story.
What do string lights, crowded streets, and Gray House have in common? The answer, Starry Night. Starry Night, hosted by Campus House and Gray House, is a night where thousands of people gather together on streets right out front of Gray House and enjoy vendors, music, and food. For some, it is a fun night to enjoy with friends, but for those that put it on, it reminds them of their humble beginnings.
We started on First Street here on Purdue's campus with about 100 people and a few vendors and a couple bands, and it went well, so we did it the next year.
Ever since 2002, Campus House has hosted a night like this for the community and students. But some may ask why.
The purpose all the way through has been to really bless our community. We believe that art and beauty are things that bring people together,
Starry Night features bands throughout the night, vendors that sell some goods, and lots of hands-on activities. If you missed out on this year's Starry Night, you can always check it out next year when the lights will be brought out once again. Reporting for Fast Track News, Sheena Steppen.
Let's check back in with Matt for a more extended weather forecast for the West Lafayette area.
Thanks, Dakota. Skies are clear for tonight. As you can see on the radar, besides some ground clutter as you see some in Illinois, it's generally clear skies throughout much of the area with no precipitation in the area, which is great news for tonight. Our forecast for tonight is mostly clear and not as cool as this morning. Our low will be 52 degrees. Our winds will be out of the south and southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And if you're planning on going to the homecoming tomorrow, expect clear conditions at 6 o'clock this morning when you go out for breakfast club, as temperatures will be in the lower 50s, and temperatures will begin to rebound throughout the day, and we'll be at 68 degrees at noon at about kickoff time, and we'll have a temperature of 75 degrees at 3 p.m., which will make it a very, very warm and beautiful day, as mostly sunny skies throughout much of the day. Speaking of Saturday, our forecast high for Saturday will be 76 degrees. However, it will be windy throughout much of the day, as winds will be out of the southwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. So it'll be a great day. Overall, on our next 7 days, we should expect some showers and thunderstorms coming into the area on Sunday, with a high temperature of 78 on Sunday. And temperatures throughout much of the first half of the week will be beautiful, as we have temperatures getting into the lower 80s on Monday and Tuesday with mostly sunny skies. We'll have a temperature of 81 on Wednesday. However, there should be a slight chance of some thunderstorms later in the afternoon. As we move into Thursday and Friday, we should expect temperatures to cool back off into more fall-like conditions, as we have a 50% chance of showers for Thursday and Friday, with a high temperature of 60 on Thursday and a temperature of 59, struggling to get into the 60s on Friday. And this is Matthew Seedorf for Fast Track Weather.
Thanks, Matt. Oklahoma perhaps isn't the first location that comes to mind when thinking about October break plans.
However, the Black Cultural Center took 30 students on a research tour to learn about the state's history and have some fun along the way. Ben Thomas has the story as the group went sweeping down the plain.
Expression and reflection. These are two of the things students from the Black Cultural Center are practicing at the Post Oak Lodge outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. A few days earlier, the students had gone to historical sites, starting with the Cherokee Cultural Center.
I feel like the Cherokee history is intertwined with Black history, because most of the time we were taught that there's just this Native American people and then there's just the Black people. But then after going through the Cherokee museum and talking with one of the tour guides, we learned that we were actually a part of the Trail of Tears and everything else that they went through. And then some of us are even Cherokee in our heritage.
The group then attended a lecture from a lawyer and historian, Dr. Hannibal Johnson, where he talked about Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Race Riot of 1921.
So Black Wall Street was an entrepreneurial mecca that existed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a segregated Black community called the Greenwood District. It was called Black Wall Street because of the incredible entrepreneurship that existed in this relatively small 35 square block community across the tracks from and adjacent to downtown Tulsa, White Tulsa.
In Oklahoma City, the students had the opportunity to tour the OKC bombing memorial.
This is where the building was. These are the literally charred remains of the building. And that brought it home a little bit more to say these chairs are empty because these are the people that died here.
At the Post Oak Lodge, the students had the privilege to work with professionals to practice their artistic performances for the Cultural Arts Festival. Those wanting to attend the Cultural Arts Festival, the event takes place December 2nd at Loeb Playhouse. Ben Thomas, Fast Track News.
With half of Purdue's fall semester almost over, local housing companies are looking ahead towards next school year.
The Purdue Housing and Dining Fair brought fun, info, and swag to the students to live off campus. We go now to reporter Ryan Nally, who got to check out the event.
I'm here at the Fall Housing and Dining Fair at Purdue's Memorial Mall, where local vendors are showing off off-campus housing and dining options here around West Lafayette. The Housing and Dining Fair is an on-campus event sponsored by the Exponent. Students simply grab a bag and explore their potential future housing.
I think it's a great opportunity for apartments to get exposure to Purdue students, and especially a lot of those off-campus apartments that don't get a lot of exposure from students just walking around, seeing their signs on buildings and things like that. So I think it's great for both the apartments and the students.
Many companies had tables which offered a unique spin.
Well, I have a nice nifty hat on. People have been throwing rings on my head. We're giving away some footballs and some owl pens because WIDA has owls everywhere. We're just giving away some information on the different apartments we're leasing to.
Students not only received information, but also got a chance to explore different housing options that would fit their needs. Along the way, students packed their bags with various housing swag.
I probably have like 10 t-shirts in my bag right now, and then like tons of candy. I got a free lunch and everything like that, and I also got tons of information about apartments.
For the first time, the housing fair added dining, so students could get a taste of off-campus life.
I think it's a great opportunity to actually see all the amount of apartment companies on campus, and that there's so many choices, and that there's a million possible options that you could have.
The Housing and Dining Fair will return in spring 2017.
I just think it's a fun giveaways, and people should come check it out no matter what.
Ryan Nally, Fast Track News.
Looking for more Ben Affleck in your life? The actor's latest film, The Accountant, hits theaters this weekend. Bringing you his thoughts on the film from Wabash Landing 9 is our own Griffin Schiller with another Film Friday.
Hey everyone, Griffin Schiller here, bringing you all another Film Friday. Alright, so this week we have the release of Ben Affleck's second outing of the year, the first one being obviously Batman vs. Superman, and this one being The Accountant. So The Accountant is directed by Gavin O'Connor, and for those of you who don't know, Gavin O'Connor is the guy behind Warrior, a little film that came out a few years ago, and also the guy behind Miracle, the movie about the 1980 Miracle on Ice. Very talented director, and obviously this movie starring Ben Affleck, the man, myth, legend himself. We got Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect, J.K. Simmons, the Punisher himself, John Bernthal, John Lithgow, and a whole bunch of other incredibly talented individuals. So the film centers around Christian Wolf. Basically, he's an accountant by day and a money launderer for criminals by night. Now, Christian is autistic, and even though he may not have the most comfortable interactions with people, he's extremely gifted and brilliant, which is how he's able to be this successful accountant. Now, there's one other thing to Christian. He's secretly well-trained in martial arts and weaponry, and quite frankly, in my opinion, he could give Jason Bourne a run for his money. So Christian is hired for a freelance job working for a robotics company where an accounting clerk played by Anna Kendrick finds a discrepancy involving about $1 million. Yeah, chump change. As Christian digs deeper, the bodies start falling, and with the Treasury Department's Crime Enforcement Division, headed by J.K. Simmons' character, closing in on his illegal activities, we're definitely in for a wild ride. Now, aside from Doctor Strange, Rogue One, and Assassin's Creed, I gotta be honest, this was my most anticipated film of the latter half of 2016. The trailers really sold me on everything that was going on. The story seemed incredibly interesting. Add Ben Affleck in the mix, and I'm 100% on board. And I'm happy to say that I was thoroughly impressed by The Accountant. So first things first, the acting was simply phenomenal. If I'm being honest, I think this is one of the best performances Ben Affleck has ever given. Truly. He absolutely just seems like an autistic person, and I think the thing that sells it is that he doesn't go over the top in this film. Sometimes actors have a tendency to go over the top when they're playing a mentally disabled person, and I think that what Ben Affleck did with the character is he researched people who were autistic, and he was able to portray real autistic people, and that helped me buy into his character immensely. He's extremely meticulous, he doesn't make a lot of eye contact with people, it's awkward encounters, and then when things start to deviate from his routine, he conveys Christian's stress and anguish beautifully. I absolutely loved his character. Now, Anna Kendrick was also great, and she lent herself well to some of the more lighthearted moments of the film. I also thought that she had fantastic chemistry with Ben Affleck. You know, you really got the feeling that they had this connection with one another, which was also fantastic. J.K. Simmons gives a great performance. You know, he isn't in the film a whole lot, but his character definitely has an impact, and his arc is extremely intriguing. Now, the final standout performance to me in this film was John Bernthal, the hitman trying to hunt down Ben Affleck. Oh my God. We already know that John Bernthal can play the intimidating and skilled hitman well, as obvious from his role as the Punisher on Daredevil, and this character is no different. So the next thing that I want to talk about here is the story, because overall, this is an incredibly original and unique story. It's definitely more of a drama with action than a straight-up action film, as the trailers kind of portrayed it to be. So it was a nice surprise, actually. It's also told in a non-linear format, almost like a puzzle. And as an audience member, that's incredibly refreshing. I feel like the fact that the movie makes you think and forces you to pay attention to intricate details as the story progresses, you know, it just adds to the overall enjoyment while I'm watching the movie. And as we start peeling back the layers of Christian's life, we find out more about him, more about his past, and more about how he became this person. And, you know, Christian's not the only person who gets this development. All of the major players in the film are nicely fleshed out. Overall, it's just such a fascinating ride that had me engaged straight from the get-go. Now, as for negatives, I gotta say, I really don't have a whole lot. I really enjoyed my time with this movie, but there are a few little things I had wrong with it. There were some tonal issues during a few parts. It kind of threw me off guard, but it wasn't a huge issue. And then, due to the non-linear storytelling nature of the movie, I could see how some people could get a little confused by what's going on. But just pay attention, and I think you'll be all right. So that's really it, guys. I absolutely loved The Accountant. You know, who knows? This might end up in my top 10 favorite films of 2016, but I can definitely send you to go see this movie this weekend. You won't regret it. And on a scale from 1 to 5, I think I'm going to be giving The Accountant a 4.8. All right, well, that's going to do it for another installment of Film Friday. Until next time, Griffin Schiller, Fast Track News.
Let's check in one more time with Matt for a 7-day forecast before we go.
Thanks, Dakota. We had a generally sunny, your typical fall day weather today. We had temperatures in the upper 60s throughout much of the area, as we had a 69 in Indianapolis, a 69 in Cincinnati, and a temperature of 70 degrees in Frankfort, Kentucky. Our current conditions show we have a 64 currently in Lafayette, with a 65 in Rensselaer and a 63 in Champaign. Our high temperature for today was 68 degrees. Our low temperature was a little chilly, 39, but these are both pretty much normal for this time of the year. Our record high was 85 degrees set back in 1975, and our low temperature was 25 degrees set back in 2002. Excuse me, I'm about to say 1900. It was actually 2002. Our current radar shows that we have pretty much generally clear conditions throughout much of the area. There is no precipitation appearing on the radar except a few ground clutter in some spots, which is kind of typical when there's nothing going on. Our futurecast radar shows we have a line of showers over here in Iowa beginning to form, as however it will leave generally clear conditions throughout much of the area in our greater Lafayette area. Our 7 a.m. shows we have showers beginning to form down in Missouri, and it will still be clear, however, in the area, as these showers will begin to form in a line of showers and thunderstorms at about 2 p.m. Over Iowa and Illinois, and these should arrive into the area later on in the evening on Saturday. However, for game day and homecoming, it should be a beautiful day with clear skies throughout much of the day. Our low temperatures we will have upper 40s in Fort Wayne, in Warsaw, with 47 in Fort Wayne and a 48 in Warsaw. And we should expect a low temperature tonight of 52 degrees here in the Lafayette area. Our forecast for Saturday calls for mostly sunny skies, windy and warmer conditions with a high of 76 degrees. Winds will be out of the south-southwest at about 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. On Saturday night, we should expect increasing cloudiness throughout the evening as those showers begin to arrive. And we should expect a chance of showers after midnight. Our low temperature should be 51 degrees, with winds being out of the southwest at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Our chance of precipitation should be about 40%, I give it. And on Sunday, we should expect mostly cloudy skies with a chance of showers and thunderstorms throughout much of the day. Our high temperature will be 78 degrees. Our winds will be out of the southwest at about 10 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation will be 40%. I will have a 7-day forecast out later, which I have some really good news for everybody who loves warm weather. Back to you guys.
That's all we have for this week's edition of Fast Track. I'm Molly Shaughnessy.
And I'm Dakota Simon. For these stories and more, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube page. Thanks again for tuning in. Enjoy homecoming and see you next week.